Hello, race fans. Welcome to another edition of the EKN OutLap here on the EKN Radio Network. And indeed, we are back on the road, this time in Newcastle, Indiana. Excited to give you an OutLap preview of this coming weekend's SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals at Newcastle. And again, the first of two weekends. So this one's going to kind of OutLap preview the entire event, the two-weekend event. We'll, of course, come back with a debrief midway through next week and do a little bit of a preview for the final weekend. Again, the entire SuperKarts USA Pro Tour into these two triple-header weekends. My name is Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole. This is our preview podcast. We'll talk about the teams, the drivers. Obviously, we'll look at point standings next week because we're starting off the season now. Those of you who follow the SKUSA Pro Tour know that the COVID-19 shutdown really locked and loaded the program. David Cole and Xander Clements were down in New Orleans for the Winter Nationals, but that only got into Friday. So we've kind of been sitting here waiting to get the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour back running. SKUSA doing a great job jamming everything here into these two weekends. It's going to be a really exciting 10-day period at Newcastle, Indiana. This edition of the EKN OutLap brought to you by Leading Edge Motorsports. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of countless drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Most recently, Greg and his Leading Edge Motorsports staff guided Danny Formal to victories at both the Rock the Rio and SuperKarts USA Super Nationals in Las Vegas. Leading Edge Motorsports is the West Coast dealer and factory team for IP Karting, which manufactures the ultra-competitive Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Visit leadingedgemotorsports.com for more info or find them on Facebook and Instagram. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. All right, David, we launched this OutLap preview podcast at the Super Nationals last year. It's August the 5th right now. It is Wednesday. We're getting ready to roll in. I'm already here in Newcastle at our essentially unofficial EKN headquarters when we're down here, our Airbnb in Newcastle. You'll be heading down here tomorrow. Episode 10 of the OutLap, though, and wow, what a weekend, or let's say weekends we have lined up because essentially 6 races over 9 days.
Yeah, as you said, a 10-day marathon
10
essentially
days,
is what we're going to be doing if you count, the 2 practice days that we're going to have, and then, as you said, 6 days of actual racing, 6 rounds of competition to decide this year's SuperKarts USA Pro Tour champions. It's going to be certainly a unique aspect to not only the championship, but just for the sport in general, because we're not used to running a 3-round weekend and then let alone do it back to back. We've had some back to back weekends with a typical Saturday, Sunday rounds of racing, but never this race on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then turn around and do the same thing again. Thankfully, with the Newcastle Motorsports Park, we're able to do this. Obviously, the state of Indiana is been one of the more open states during this COVID-19 pandemic, having some recent guidelines put in, and certainly masks are being obviously required now, no matter where you're going now in the state. We noticed that a couple weeks ago after the USPKS program was done at Newcastle. But again, the great thing about the Newcastle facility, they've worked with local and state officials from the get-go to make sure that everything is compliant, everything is safe, and they're following all the guidelines that have been set out by the government and all the different health organizations.
Yeah, let's set the stage there. Here in Indiana, of course, the biggest news most recently, just coming down earlier this week, was that the Indianapolis 500 will be run now with no fans. Obviously, we're a much different venue and a much different amount of attendance. They were expecting probably somewhere around 75,000 people, I think, for the Indianapolis 500. No fans there. Indiana, though, is into stage 4.5, essentially. There has been an uptick in cases, but we're talking just over 100, I think still under 200 cases, new cases a day. So a little bit of an uptick, but nothing to the point where, hey, you know what, we're going to shut this place down. Nothing can happen. And as you said, the staff at Newcastle Motorsports Park has done a tremendous job to be able to put things together and work with the health authorities. Again, masks will be mandatory throughout the weekend. Social distancing, what people will be talking about, but we're going to be able to get this race in, which is absolutely key. And David, as you said, I don't know if we could run this particular event anywhere else, not even just in terms of the health code, but you also want to have a couple of different configurations, right? We're talking about 6 races over 2 weekends. The cool thing about Newcastle is that we know there's like 45 different layouts now that you can run.
48, I believe, is I think that's what Cup Karts North America did
right.
when they were there. I think it was the 48th layout that they designed. Yes.
Wow. All right. So here's the bottom line. August 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th is the opening weekend. They're going to be on track tomorrow for practice. Then 3 full days of racing, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, rounds 1, 2, and 3. We come back again for another Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I believe Wednesday practice opening up because it's a different racetrack. So Wednesday practice, Thursday practice, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're racing again for rounds 4, 5, and 6. The best 5 events of those 6 rounds count to the championship. So by the end of that weekend, we're going to know who the national champions are, as you said, David. I'll let you kind of lay out. Let's talk about the tracks themselves, because one that we had last year, and then it's a different deal, different approach for event number 2.
Yeah, this weekend's going to be the same layout that we had in 2019 Summer Nationals with the 17-turn super mile course, using part of the oval that's on the outskirts of the national layout, and then they go through the roller coaster section and then back onto the original national course. So it had its praises and had its pros and cons, obviously, last year, but going 3 rounds on that, it's definitely going to it's going to test not only the drivers and teams, but really the equipment with the chassis and the engines, trying to go 3 full rounds of racing. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that unfolds as we head into Sunday, and it's kind of the wear and tear on everybody's equipment and wear and tear on the drivers and teams, and just to see how that kind of unfolds, because, we typically see, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 drivers double up on a weekend, but to be able to triple up and start that weekend off with 3 victories to start off the championship chase with only 3 more rounds to go after that, that's going to be it's going to be very key or interesting to watch how that unfolds.
And then coming back the next weekend, David, a major difference. So, of course, counterclockwise for the super mile, 17 corners, as you said. Next weekend, we're moving to the national course, but reverse national, which puts us in the counterclockwise direction. Only 15 turns, but a big difference in what we've done for Superkarts USA. I don't think we've ever run in the reverse order, the clockwise direction around the racetrack. So normally it's been that run down to I-70, the hairpin, and coming back, right? Either the long run down the straightaway to start finish, or in years past, quite a while ago, we had the 90 degree at the end of the corner for that short run to the checker flag. A lot of over-unders there. Guy blocks to the inside, you make a move to go over-under. We're going to go clockwise, flipping it around. So those, essentially the corners, it'll be a right, left, right, 90 degree combinations right by the scales coming back to start finish. You and I talked before we went on to the start of the broadcast here. I don't know how that's going to finish. You seem to think it's going to be exciting. I don't know. We'll see. And I'm looking forward to the first final. That's for sure.
Well, when you look at the national course and what is now would be 2, 3, and 4 are very interesting corners, because you got a left, a right, and a left. And so you get a little guys going, diving in on the right-hander for a pass. If you get a little squirrely out of the left. I think with this, going in the reverse national and then coming to the checkered flag, we're going to see a lot more action than what we're used to seeing. And especially because, we can't see it at I-70 because it's so far away. I mean, there's a lot that goes on there when you're running the normal direction for the national course. So when we're coming to the reverse national, I think you're going to see a lot of action in what will now be the right, left, right before they get to the checkered flag. So that I personally believe we're going to see a lot of action, especially in the X30 categories, because you're carrying more speed. There's a little bit more, oscillation between speeds going in and out of the corners. It might not be as prevalent in some of the slower categories, like say maybe mini or micro, because they're on the gas all the time anyway. But I think for the X30 categories, we're going to see some interesting passing in those sections.
I guess to your point, David, if someone comes down the straightaway out of what would have been 4 back to 3, which will be obviously the other way around, it'll be 12, 13, 14, 15. When you're coming down that straightaway, if you're blocking to the inside, you're really going to be off the line, shallow entry, wide exit. You're going to see guys crisscrossing back and forth, I think, right? That's kind of what it's going to be. A lot of over-unders, and if someone gets themselves way out of it where they can't get back across the racetrack to set up for turn 14, that sets up for 15. It could be interesting. I don't know if the start-finish line's far enough down coming out of 15, but man, I'll tell you, you're probably right. There are going to be some guys, especially in this particular weekend. It's the second weekend. Guys may have to force the issue a little bit if they want to get themselves back in the championship. Could be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, Friday around 4, they might need those extra points to be able to get themselves up. If you got a lead, if you got a lead group of 4 or 5 drivers, and like you said, you got guys crisscrossing. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of excitement, I think, and especially with the grandstands kind of right there along pit lane or pit out. It'll be quite interesting. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, hold on, the elbows up for sure. Just a look at the event schedule, as David had said. Thursday official practice day, a total of 5 sessions. The first 3 sessions, the shorter 7-minute sessions. The last 2, the extended 12-minute sessions. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, round 1, 2, and 3. And then it'll be round 4, 5, and 6. Qualifying 8 laps, pre-final 10 laps. And, of course, the main events, 14 laps for the slower cars, the junior categories, micro, mini. I'm not sure exactly which ones.
Micro and mini are going to run the 14, and then everybody else 16. And then micro and mini are 8 in the. Well, actually, this is for the first weekend. I forgot to add the second weekend here.
Shorter racetrack, so it could be longer laps.
So
right?
I believe it was 11. Let me scroll down here. 11 laps in the pre-final, 10 for mini and micro, and then 18 laps for the main event, 16 for mini and micro.
There you go. That's the event schedule. Again, folks, we got back-to-back weekends here on the EKN Radio Network and the EKN Trackside Live program brought to you by Cooper Tires. We're excited to do it. David, that says, is going to be rolling down here and tomorrow. And, man, we'll be trackside, get things underway. Make sure you follow our social media. We'll have all that rolling to try to bring you the best coverage we possibly can from what should be an amazing double-header weekends, triple-header races, double-header weekends back-to-back at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Entries still coming in, I think, probably, I would assume, I don't know that they're still allowing trackside entries. I assume they probably would be still. But when we get back from this break, David will go through the numbers. We'll tell you how many drivers we got lined up for the 2020 SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals, what I believe they're going to call the Summer Festival. Stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. Technology, design, and manufacturing. These components are what make Kart Republic a world champion. The Kart Republic chassis has earned 2 FIA World Karting Championships. Here in the U.S., the brand has earned multiple victories and championships in senior, junior, and cadet competition. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor for Dino Chiesa's Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they are focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. Whether you'd like to find the Kart Republic dealer closer to you or schedule an arrive and drive package with its official North American race team, contact Kart Sport North America through their official website, kartsportna.com. We are Republic. We are one. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We ship daily to ensure that you get your order as quickly as possible, and we are constantly adding new products to our online store. We specialize in IAME engines, Tillett seats, ceramic product line, OTK products, Briggs & Stratton engines, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fit your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, our 10th edition of the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast where we talk about the event that we are heading to with the EKN Trackside Live program. Myself, Rob Howden, alongside David Cole. David, let's have a look at the numbers here of what we got going on. Last year, I believe, was around a little over 250, over 230. So considering, I think, the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, some people electing not to race, some people not traveling in. Of course, no one coming in from Europe or Australia. We normally had a couple people potentially coming in from international in the international scene, but everything national, everything here, and we're like 235, I think, for this weekend.
Yeah, 235 for this weekend. We had 256 last year, and also Canada. I mean, you've been able to come down. If I recall, looking at the list, I think there's only one Canadian who's actually two Canadians, coming down.
Wow.
Alex Berg is being one of them, and Thomas Naveau. But you have a few Mexican drivers, a few driver from Bermuda, obviously with Scott Barnes. So as I said, Mexico, Brazil. There are a few drivers who are obviously living in Brazil, but nationality is Brazil. So yeah, not the international numbers are certainly down this year. You have a busy European schedule as well too. So, we're not able to bring in the European drivers as well because they're racing. We had drivers from the US actually travel to Europe to race as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along in our previews.
Well, look at the numbers. Obviously, Micro Swift the same as last year at 23. A little uptick in Mini Swift. We have 40 karts in the Mini Swift category. A bit of a drop, though, in the X30 classes, which kind of coincide to an increase as well in KA100. We've seen some drivers move from the X30 into the KA100. The X30 Junior 47 down to 30. X30 Senior still 44. What we would call a full field for SKUSA. 44 drivers. They run at Supernats as well. 51 last year, 44. X30 Master essentially cut in half. David, 13 down to 6. And actually no Supermasters drivers here this year at all. But we do have a good little group, a growing group in KA100, Junior, Senior, and new for 2020, the KA100 Masterclass.
Yeah, really the question mark when you look at the numbers is the Master.
Yeah.
Numbers. I mean, you have 7 total in shifters with 4 in G1 and 3 in G2. As we said, only 6 in X30 Master with no Supermaster drivers whatsoever. And then now only 3 in the new KA100 Master. So you're looking at just over, double digits for Masters drivers, which is very odd and not like a Superkarts USA Pro Tour event, because essentially when it began, there was a lot of Masters drivers that were racing within the program. A lot of them at the local, or not local, but regional levels, especially at the California Pro Kart Challenge. So, you don't know if this has to do with the COVID situation where guys are stuck at home working, or what really is the situation with that. Plenty of categories for them to race in, but just the numbers aren't there.
Well, one of the things I think SKUSA's been kind of the big supporter of Masters racing for the last number of years, right? And to be honest, when the Pro Kart Challenge first started before the Kutcher family bought Superkarts USA, it was an adult-only program. PKC was only adults. There was no kid classes, no juniors. And I think it's weird because you think about Masters being 30 and up, and then, our senior categories now, drivers anywhere from 14 to 19. It's almost like this 10 to 15-year sliding window where we may not see a bunch of Masters because people don't graduate from senior into Masters, right? You kind of hang around for a while, you keep racing, or you go to school, and then you kind of come back to Masters. It just feels to me like we're in this sliding window where a lot of the Masters guys that have been around for 10 years are starting to retire or go do something different. Yeah, some of it may be COVID-19 and guys having to work, as you said, but I don't know. It just seems to me like a lot of the Masters drivers potentially are leaving or retiring from national level racing, and we're not seeing them refilled by anybody else.
Well, or I wonder if it's the format. I mean, 6 rounds of racing in 10 days is a lot for people. I mean,
that's true.
I don't think we could jump in a cart and be able to do it at Newcastle Motorsports Park right now.
No, not right.
So maybe that's part of the situation as well. It's a lot. It's a great thing because I'd be all for racing 6 times in 10 days, but physically and mentally, it just might be a little bit too much for some drivers.
Numbers in the KA100 junior categories: 26 in KA100 junior, 34 in KA100 senior. We had 21 last year, so both of those categories expanding. David, KA100 master had 3 drivers, but I think in some of the calls you've made, some of the digging you've done here today, we may see a number of those drivers make moves to other classes. Is that correct?
We may have 0 when we get trackside talking with some of the 2 of the drivers that are in the class right now. So that might change, but so we'll see when we get trackside regarding that new category. Again, it's kind of tough because it's kind of just been thrown in there. I look at it as, well, on the East Coast here, there's nobody running KA100 master, even at the regional level. Let alone club level. I don't know of any tracks that are doing that. I know there's maybe some heavy categories, but it doesn't seem to be enough numbers to be able to warrant this at the Pro Tour level. But we'll see what happens when we get trackside tomorrow. But I don't think we mentioned the Pro Shifter categories. We have 12 in the Pro Shifter, down from 18 last year, and then Pro Shifter 2 down to 10 from 14 a year ago.
Yeah, we're going to do a quick break right now. When we do get back, we'll really dive into all the categories here. Again, we'll talk about X30 Senior. We'll talk about the Pro and Pro 2 shifter categories. David can kind of break it down a little bit, the research that he's done, because, again, remember, one of the things about the shifter car categories for 2020 in the Pro Tour, you're allowed the 175 IME SSE, but you're also allowed to run a KZ power plant. And, David, I know we got a number of drivers who have elected to use that KZ. We'll dive into X30 Senior and Pro and Pro 2 shifter after this break. You've heard and read about us. We are the Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. Our senior program is the best in the sport, and we have the SKUSA Pro Tour X30 Senior Championship to prove it. Our coaching staff includes 4-time SKUSA National Champion Ryan Norberg, 3-time SKUSA Supernats winner Bonner Moulton, SKUSA Pro Tour X30 Junior Champion, 2015 Rotax Grand Finals Vice Champion, and Junior Development Specialist Luke Selkin, and our hands-on owner, multi-time champion, and IKF Duffy winner Mike Rawlson. This isn't sideline coaching. We're on track, and we dogfight with you. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. You learn more and more with every single lap. Our seniors win races, like Hannah Greenmeyer at the SKUSA Winter Series opener in Florida. And they win because they've been trained, coached, and honed by our RPG staff. Hurricane Hannah is proof positive. If you're a mini driver ready to move up, or a junior driver who's done with running mid-pack, join the team that will develop your skills and take you to the podium. At the Rawlson Performance Group, we turn juniors into pros. In 2020, we'll be racing at the SKUSA Winter Series, Pro Tour and California Pro Kart Challenge, the Florida Winter Tour, and the United States Pro Kart Series, as well as the IKF Northwest region. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. We're the Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. With over 35 years of manufacturing experience, Precision Karting Technologies is the leader in American-made components. We produce high-quality products, led by our full line of chromoly and mild steel axles. Metric or imperial, standard or custom, we have what you need. Collars, keys, bearings, we're the source for axle components in the USA. We're not just axles either. At PKT, we can manufacture motor mounts, hubs, brake rotors, and even GoPro mounts. We're also the choice for axle and chassis straightening. We've designed a dedicated table for the sole purpose of straightening and laser aligning your chassis. If needed, we have the capability to cut, replace, and weld portions of your chassis as well. Big crash bent your frame? Send it to us. Broke a spindle yoke off in a wreck? We can replace it. You don't need to toss that expensive frame in the trash bin. We can fix it. We can repair and straighten chassis, and we CNC machine the finest karting products in the country. With over 70 dealers throughout the U.S. and Canada, it's easy to choose PKT. Family owned and operated, proudly made in the USA. PKT. What's in your cart? Welcome back to the EKN OutLap, where we preview this coming weekend and the following weekend, SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals, the Summer Festival at Newcastle Motorsports Park. It's episode number 10 of the OutLap. August the 5th right now, Wednesday, just getting ready to lead into this deal.
Yeah, I think we kind of created the Summer Festival name because they haven't really said it's a Summer Festival, have they?
I thought it was Festival of Speed or something like that. I don't know.
That's the thing. Like they haven't put really a name on the event. So I guess we could kind of call it whatever we want, right? We could just call it the Mike Adams Special.
Oh, as long as he's making hamburgers, we're good. Let's make some smash burgers. Again, this edition of the OutLap brought to you by Leading Edge Motorsports. David, let's jump into X30 Senior. And the bottom line is this: a full field of 44 pre-entries. And really, I guess out of the gate, the primary story would be Ryan Norberg's drive for 5. 4 straight SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Championships. He's the national number 1 driver in the EKN driver rankings. He's got 6 races to do it at Newcastle. Is he going to be able to go 5 for 5?
Well, can he go 6 for 6 on the weekend?
That's true.
You know, that's one of the things going in, and we didn't talk about a little bit in the early section of the show. They're giving out prize money for X30 Senior, X30 Junior, and the Pro shifter categories. So each day, a winner is taking home cash, and then those categories with over 30 drivers are also taking home cash as well. Not as much as the headline divisions with $2,500 to win each round. You know, so I'm talking about a little bit in the written preview. If you win all 6 rounds in X30 Senior, that's $15,000 you're taking home.
$15,000. That's massive. That's huge. Yes. SKUSA kicking in. I think it was another $20,000. I think it was right. They threw back into the pot. So nice. Again, so Ryan Norberg for, of course, the Rallis Performance Group, looking to score his 5th straight SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Championship. He'll start that drive for 5 on Friday. Cool to see national number 2 Brandon Jarsakrak on the entry list as well. And back 2018 SKUSA Pro Tour national number 3 Dante Yu back in the fight as well. This is a pretty good looking grid, Dave. This
grid is really stacked. I mean, we you look through it when I was doing my written preview. I'm just looking at the names that I keep going over and over and seeing. I'm like, man, there's probably 20 drivers here that have the ability to win without a doubt. So you're looking at half the field with a legitimate shot at being on the podium in any of the rounds throughout the weekend. You look at Brandon Lemke, Zach Holden, who's joining Trinity Karting Group for the weekend. He's jumping aboard a Tony Kart. Lemke still on with the Franklin Kart Merlin machine. Ashley Ruggiero coming back behind the wheel. She's been obviously does a lot of racing at GoPro Motorplex and does a lot of coaching with a lot of the kids underneath the Nitro Kart tent. She's jumping back into the seat and going to go at it for the weekend. So she's one that's always been fast at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And then you look at who just recently won there in the USPKS event with Ariz Dumejian and Philip Arscott in the Will Power Kart. Both of them able to score victory on that weekend. So they're in the field as well. And then a strong class of rookies that are going to be in the field as well, too. Well, yeah, before you start rolling out the rookies, the cool factor is you look at some of the guys that have done well here at Newcastle, but also both Lemke and Dugmejian, former SKUSA X30 Junior champions, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I'm telling you, this is stacked. Then look at the rookies. And this is the thing, David, you and I always get excited when we watch these kids come up through the mini categories into junior. Luca Mars, Morgan, Tyner, Trissini. What a stacked group of rookies. The freshman class is big. Yeah, Mars actually got some good racing in with racing against 60 other karts. They did. This past weekend, he visited the USAC karting battle at the Brickyard. Did KA racing along with the Briggs and Stratton 206 class. So he got to experience some drafting there around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Had a pretty solid weekend. Finished second in the KA 100 category, but has really been coming on strong in the X30 division as well too. Cole Morgan is going to be a rookie to watch. Brandon Tyner and Trucini are obviously fast every weekend they go to. So it's a matter of if they're going to be able to translate that into good results come the end of each day.
Hey, David, I just want to throw this out there because I don't know if it caught me off guard or I just haven't been watching. When did Luca Mars grow like 6 inches?
Yeah, he's gotten really, really tall over the last year.
When did that happen? When did that happen?
Well, and he's splitting his race suit because he was walking around Indianapolis with a broken race suit all weekend long. So he's getting really tall, and it's affecting his race suit. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I that's what happens with some of these kids, man.
I know.
You blink your eye and they've grown a foot.
It just literally caught me off guard when I saw him. It was weird. Speaking, you got the rookie class coming up. How about Renato Jader David, former Supercarts USA Super Nationals winner in X30 Master, deciding he's going to step up a weight class going at it in X30 Senior. I'm really interested to see what Renato's able to do.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with Andre Nicastro. He's been able to come down and race with the senior drivers, being however old, maybe 45. He's got to be close to your age. I remember he raced in some of the North American karting championships back in the day.
In Super A back in the late 90s. He was running Super A against the big dogs. So, yeah.
So, I could see Renato being at least in the top 20 throughout the weekend. So it'll be interesting to watch, along with fellow Brazilian Alan Gali. He's been quick all over the place. Probably going into the Winter Nationals, he was probably one of the favorites because he had a solid weekend down there at NOLA Motorsports Park. So we'll see if he's able to come back aboard his CRG and be quick at Newcastle.
Again, 44 pre-entries next 30 senior. That is going to be an absolute barn burner. 6 races to find out who's going to be the champion in that category. And again, as David said, if you win all 6, it's $15,000. Let's move to the pro category, pro shifter. 12 drivers in the pro shifter category, David, and the last 3 champions all come into race. It's Jake French, AJ Myers, and Kyle Wick all ready to go head-to-head. 8 drivers running the IAME SSE 175. 4 drivers bolting on the KZ.
Actually, you know what? I messed that up. It's 4 former champions.
Well, who are we missing?
Danny Formal, 2016.
That's right, Formal. So Danny Formal running the Charles Leclerc chassis with ANSA Motorsports.
Yep.
The last 4 champions. Why not?
I mean, it's we've never had it. I'm pretty sure we've not had this at a regular Pro Tour event to where we've had this many champions in the shifter category. Not to mention you throw in 4-time winner or Super Nationals winner, Billy Musgrave. So, there's a top 5 right there. I mean, you don't have to go any further than that, but then, you throw in some of the young guns like Race Liberante, last year's Pro 2 champion, Devin Smith Harden coming off victory at Battle of the Brickyard. It's going to be a pretty tight field. And Andrew Budozo, who was national number 3 last year, teaming up with the Magic Carts. So you got 3 Magic Carts with Rory Vandersteer, AJ Myers, and Andrew Budozo, who actually just won the Rock Cup Festival at Charlotte this past weekend as well. So, I mean, some solid drivers that are making up the pro shifter category. But really what's going to be interesting is to watch the engine disparity. 4 drivers that are going to be running aboard the KZ power plants. You have Musgrave on a KZ, Race Liberante on a KZ, Danny Formal on a KZ, and Pierce Baldus with Leading Edge Motorsports on the Formula K. He's running a KZ as well. The rest of the drivers on the SSE engine. How is that going to change throughout the weekend? I don't quite know what the ruling is. How often can you change an engine? This is, again, something brand new. They've never had, aside from the first year of the Pro Tour with G1 having, open engines, how often can drivers be changing, whether going back from KZ to SSE or just different KZ engines, period? You have the Medina, you have the Maxter, you have the TM. It's going to be interesting to see how this kind of all shakes out throughout the weekend and next weekend as well. Yeah,
you did mention that Jordan Musser is up running in the pro category as well, which I think is pretty cool to see Jordan doing that. I believe
Pro 2.
He's running Pro 2. I like that. Obviously, he kind of dominated the action last year, right? He kind of wants to jump back into the fight and see what he's got.
Yeah, it'll be that the Pro 2 category is going to be certainly interesting because we don't have anybody returning from last year. So it's kind of an open book in terms of who's going to stand out. You got to put Musser up there, being a 4-time Superkarts USA champion already in master category, but him coming back down. You have young gun Annie Rule, who was really impressive at Battle of the Brickyard. We haven't been able to quite see her step up, and she did that last weekend, running alongside Wild Thing Josh Lane and up there with Race Liberante as well. So we'll see how that translates going to Newcastle, where it's a pretty demanding racetrack, especially on the supermile track. But Baylor Griffin, he's a returning driver. I don't think he's quite finished in the top 3 in points ever. So he'll be probably a challenger for the championship, along with Gavin Bailiff in the Trinity Karting Group entry aboard the Burrell Art cart. And then Kyle Apuzzo on the GFC with Riviera Racing. He might be another driver that could be fighting for the victory on the weekend.
Yeah, I think one of the drivers that we watched last year that was very strong, that could be ready to break out, would be Chente Salas too. He was obviously on the Croc promotion last year. He's with the Factory Kart and a Musgrave Racing Company this year. And think about this: we got to go back to the mid 2000s. The last time I think we saw Gustavo Yakiman race at Newcastle Motorsports Park back in the Stars of Karting days. David, that's a while back.
Yeah, if I recall, the last time he was there, he got into a scuffle. If I recall,
that's right. He did.
Yep. We won't talk much about that, but yeah.
No, let's leave that. Let's let that one go.
But he actually was famous a couple years ago for that video that he did with Travis Pastrana, where he pushed the shut off button. I think when they were doing like some Red Bull event a couple years back. That was pretty interesting. But he's been pounding laps left and right at Homestead over and over. So he has no rust to shake off. Maybe a little bit in the racecraft. Might need to get used to that racing style, but he probably will be one of the quick ones as well on the weekend.
Let's be real. Gustavo's a pro. He's become a professional racer.
Exactly. Former IMSA driver as well too. So he doesn't have the rust to shake off. But engine wise there, it's going to be half and half. You got 5 on the IAME 175 and then 5 with the KZ power plant. So it'll be, again, both categories will be interesting to watch with how the engine selections change or maybe don't change.
I just like, in the pro category, I like the fact that it is absolutely stacked. It's not a huge field, but as you said, David, the last 4 champions, we've got guys that have won major races like Devin Smith-Harden coming off his win, as you said, at Indianapolis at the Battle of the Brickyard. Then you see this really cool cross-section in the Pro 2 class. We got some really young drivers. We got a couple drivers that looked good last year in Pro 2. And then we got a veteran like Jordan Musser, one of the legends in the sport with so many championships over the last 15 to 20 years. I think that's going to be a really, really fun category to watch. Okay, let's go to another break. And then when we come back, we're going to line up with X30 Junior, KA100 Junior, KA100 Senior, and KA100 Masters, if indeed that class does hold on. As David had said, those drivers potentially thinking about moving to another category. So stay with us, folks. The EKN OutLap of the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals, brought to you by Leading Edge Motorsports, will continue after this break. Powered by technology, DID racing chains have a worldwide reputation for superior quality and reliability. Meticulously engineered and manufactured in Japan, DID genuine parts are the world's #1 original parts supplier for Japanese and European motorcycle manufacturers. A rich racing tradition where results speak for themselves, DID prides itself on engineering the most technologically advanced chains on the market to help you excel on and off the track. DID's SDH pin treatment creates an extremely hard chromium carbide layer on the pin surface that houses a soft inner core to absorb extreme shock loads. DID's 219 HTZ racing chain boasts this SDH pin technology, which leads to longer chain life as well as excellent energy transmission to the wheels. Available in the gorgeous gold, the 219 HTZ is the ultimate racing kart chain. Pick up a DID chain at your local dealer today, because when winning is the only thing that matters, go with DID. Feel like you're racing alongside the many legends that have called CRG home. With direct factory support, The CRG Nordam operation is the North American distributor for all CRG products related to karting and is based just outside Houston, Texas. The complete racing chassis line, including the famous Road Rebel shifter cart, is available through CRG Nordam. The growing FS4 Briggs & Stratton Focus chassis is expanding worldwide, including right here in North America. Many tracks, indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the Centurion rental cart line through CRG. New for the 2020 season is the Mini Hero for cadet racing, homologated for FIA competitions around the world. Head over to kartcrg.com or find them on all social media networks. Welcome back to the EKN OutLap, the preview of the upcoming SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals. The entire Pro Tour jammed into 2 weekends at Newcastle Motorsports Park. David Cole, 30 pre-entries lined up for X30 Junior. One of the big things, obviously, we don't have the defending champion back this year.
No, Freddie Slater of the Great Britain area is not going to be returning, obviously racing in Europe. It's got a busy schedule there. And Brandon Tyner finished second last year in the championship. He's moved up to X30 Senior, as we talked about earlier. So the only returning driver from last year's championship podium is Josh Pearson. Not on the entry list, but been confirmed that he will be there in Newcastle. Showed really well at the USPKS weekend. Had some really fast lap times. Just didn't quite have the racing luck on his side to be able to get on top of the podium. But you got to expect him to be among the top contenders. Yeah. With a lot of returning drivers coming up in the field that are going to be in the field at Newcastle.
Yeah, you look at these Brent Cruz, you got Fletcher, you got John Burke, Max Opolsky, Jace Park, Mateo Rubio Luengo. We've been talking about these kids for the last 5 years or more, and it seems to be that a number of them are getting to the point where they're kind of at that last year junior, and now this is when they really want to impress, right, David? This is the opportunity to try to grab that championship before you make the move to senior.
Yeah, Cruz, we know, has always been fast everywhere he goes. Had a little bit of a struggle during the USPKS weekend in both X30 Junior and KA100 Junior, but certainly going to be fast. Jeremy Fletcher coming off a podium in Charlotte last weekend. John Burke was certainly one of the rising stars last year, and so now he returns as one of the top contenders under the Super Tune tent. Max Opolsky, really another guy who has kind of stepped up his game, was really quick during the winter months out on the West Coast. And so now he's bringing that speed over to Newcastle. Jace Park, another driver who's gotten that steady growth under the Speed Concepts Racing tent. He was in the contention as well at the USPKS weekend, along with Mateo Rubio Luengo, who's just been flat out fast everywhere he goes.
You know, you had a chance to do the first couple of rounds of the Challenge of the Americas as well, and I think one of the drivers that really impressed us out there was Alexander Berg as well. What do you think about Alexander with Ryan Perry Motorsports potentially being one of the spoilers of the category?
Yeah, he has that possibility. He was at the USPKS weekend, didn't quite obviously get the results that he wanted compared to what he did over in the West Coast. So we'll see if that weekend in July is going to help him for this weekend, as he's one of the number of drivers who are going to be doing the double duty with X30 Junior and KA100 Junior as well.
What are your thoughts on the rookie class?
Just a couple of ones to point out. Jack Jeffers, again, he was with Speed Concepts Racing at the USPKS weekend, was among one of the top contenders that weekend. And then Elliot Cox, being his home track, racing under the Syntec Racing tent aboard a Top Kart. We'll be able to see how he's progressing. Was at the USPKS weekend as well, hovered around the top 10 there as well. So we'll see if he's able to step it up this weekend.
Yeah, for me, it's just you kind of scroll down through it. It's you don't want to leave anybody out, right? Guys we've seen win races like Paul Bocuse, Alex Stanfield's kind of stepped up over the last couple of years.
Carson Morgan, Frankie
Mossman, guys can get the job done, right? And this is one of the things, David, about this particular setup now with the 3 races. If a driver starts getting on the roll early, like if you're running top 10, top 5 early, it's going to give you that momentum, right, to go all the way through to potentially win this championship. I think Friday and Saturday are going to be so crucial to see who has some momentum going through the entire weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a great little West versus East battle. Yeah. A lot of those drivers, coming from the West, a lot of those drivers representing the East, not to mention the Central states, with a lot of drivers there from the state of Texas making their way in. So certainly a great mixture of talent that's going to be in the X30 junior class.
Okay, let's move to KA100 Junior right now. You did say, David, a couple drivers potentially doing double duty, but 26 entries in total, and we're not going to see the 2019 champ either, Connor Zilic.
Yeah, Connor is going to be over racing in Europe. I believe he's part of the CIK Academy Trophy program this year. So he'll be he's already over in Europe getting ready for racing this late in the season. Obviously we're due to the COVID, everything kind of got pushed back, but he's made his way over there now. So we'll have a new champion in 2020 in the KA100 junior category. As I mentioned, a number of top returning drivers, and a number of them are doing the double duty. You talk about Brent Cruz doing double duty, Thomas Annunziata, Alex Berg, Max Opolsky, Mateo Rubio Luengo, John Burke doing double duty, a number of drivers doing the double duty. Going to be very competitive in both categories. Carson Morgan being another one as well. So, I mean, it's going to be essentially almost the same names we talk about in X30 Junior. We probably are going to talk about them a bunch in KA100 Junior as well.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the freshman class? There's obviously some really strong drivers who have found success coming into the program here this year. And tell me who you think stands out for you.
Well, as we talked about earlier in the year, we're seeing the mini Swift drivers moving up to the KA100 Junior category rather than doing the X30 Junior category. So this is kind of where we're going to see more rookies kind of stand out, I think, compared to the X30 Junior category. You talk about Christian Miles, Ava Dobson, Cameron Weinberg, Graham Trammell, who's making a big jump up from micro, I believe. I don't think he even ran mini last year at all. He's moving up to KA100 Junior. And then Austin Jers as well. A number of these drivers were solid in their cadet days, moving up to KA100 Junior. We know Christian Miles has already been near the front of the field during the winter months, and then at USPKS as well. Same with Cameron Weinberg, was pretty stellar in the USPKS weekend in July.
Moving over to the K100 senior class with 34 pre-entries. This one, the amount of heavy hitters in senior reminds me of X30 senior as well. You got national number 1 from last year, national number 2, right? You got Austin Osborne, and you got Nick Ramirez. And then, look at the heavy hitters. You talked about double duty in X30 junior and K100 junior, but Arias Dukmedjian, Brandon Lemke, Matthew Makabe, Joey Brienza. And then you look at the rookies who have all won races as well. This is going to be this may be one of the best races of the weekend, to be real.
Well, right? if it's anything like what we saw at the USPKS weekend, it probably will be, because something about 100cc racing in America is just prevalent. It's just people love it, and it provides such great racing. Dukmedjian won the Saturday main event, and then Bryson Morris, another rookie star, pulled off a victory there. So he's going to be pulling double duty as well. So he's leading, one of the leaders in the rookie category. You had in Luca Mars pulling double duty as well. So 2 rookies pulling double duty. They're probably going to be pretty quick in both categories. So they're going to mix it up with those veterans, as you said, with Lemke and Makabe, Osborne being probably one of the oldest drivers in K100 senior. Definitely has his work cut out for him to be able to defend that 2019 championship.
Hey, David, when we did our debrief podcast on the Battle of the Brickyard, you and I both talked about the fact that you and I running 2 classes at Indianapolis really, I think, helped both of us get a better feel for the track and keep dialed in. As this track continues, so much racing going on, the rubber's going to start going down. It may play well for guys like Mars and Morris who are doing the double duty, anybody doing double duty, to get so much more time on the racetrack.
Well, especially with it being the Ironman course, it's something that a lot of people really only did last year if they came to the Summer Nationals. So if they hadn't been here before, I think Luca Mars didn't get to race last year because he broke his arm just prior to the race weekend. So I don't think he's been on the Ironman course. So I think for him doing this double duty, it's certainly going to help. Now for the senior categories, it's a little different because they have the red red Evinco tires compared to the blue in the KA100 categories. But same thing but it's unlike the junior where they're both on the blue tires with the X30 category and the KA100 category. So they run the same tire, just different engines in the junior category. So it kind of helps them chassis wise, to be able to go back and forth regarding, tire and chassis compound, mixture. How is it going to work? Where seniors, it's two different tires. So it's really just about track time and going for victories really in those divisions.
So, David, before we came on the show, you and I talked about it. We talked a little bit about it at the start to, in our notes, there are 3 pre-entries to KA100 Master, but I know you've been doing some digging here today. What have you found out so far about the 3 guys that were planning on running Master?
Well, on the entry list, we have the new category is Matt Johnson, last year's X30 Master champion. We have Nick Tucker, the 13, maybe 2012 champion. Might have been earlier than that, but a champion nonetheless. And Ron Jenkins. So those make up the 3 drivers in the KA100 Master category. The rumor is Matt Johnson's looking at maybe racing in the KA100 Senior category, where Tucker's calling me or talking to me, asking me who was in it. And now he's thinking about maybe bringing his X30 engine instead and racing in the X30 Master class. So we may see 0 entries in the KA100 Master category once we hit the track tomorrow.
Copy. All right, folks, another break in the action here right now. We're going to get back at it. This will be the final break in this particular show. When we get back, X30 Master, G1 and G2, Mini Swift and Micro Swift to wrap up this edition of the EKN OutLap. Evinco Tires is entering its 5th season as the leading kart tire in North America. Manufactured by MT Tires, Evinco is the dedicated brand established for Superkarts USA and International Kart Federation competition. The Evinco tire is available in 2 compounds. The Evinco Red SKM is the medium compound tire utilized in shifter and tag categories. The Evinco Blue SKH is a harder compound designed for cadet divisions as well as the popular Briggs & Stratton 206 and KA100 categories. Coming soon will be a new homologation for the tire brand. The new Evinco compounds will have increased performance standards and extended durability when they make their debut here in the U.S. Dealers all across North America have Evinco tires in stock today. To be part of the dealer network, call 951-491-0330 or visit evincotires.com to learn more. Evinco, conquer every corner. Every winter, young drivers take the leap up to the next class. Whether it's micro to mini, mini to junior, or the big jump from junior into the senior ranks, it's tougher competition. If your son or daughter are moving up a class in 2020, give them exactly what they need to be ready. Professional coaching from the most respected teacher in the sport. With over 30 years of karting experience, Alan Rudolph and his staff at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy specialize in training young racers and accelerating their skills so that they're ready for the next challenge. Don't just invest in equipment, invest in your driver. Bring them to the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy at Speed Sports Racing Park in Houston and invest in their skill development. Get them ready to take on that next on-track challenge, better prepared than ever. Get ready for 2020 by calling the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy at 866-607-7223. Head to speedsportsracingpark.com to learn more. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. This is Dave? The 10th? Scroll back up, the 10th episode. Man, we're starting to get up there on these episodes. The 10th edition of the EKN OutLap, where we preview the upcoming Superkarts USA Summer Nationals. It's a unique year, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic and how the schedules have all been moved around, and we find ourselves with 2 essentially back-to-back triple-header weekends that package up the entire SKUSA Pro Tour, the 11th running of this program. We're going to wrap things up now in our preview. X30 Master to start things off. David, you kind of gave us a little bit of a teaser that maybe Nick Tucker will be added to the list. 6 pre-entries in total, no former champions. That could change with Nick Tucker. as you said, Matt Johnson, 2019 champion, going to run KA 100, but still a pretty good pretty good group. Let's say 6, we end up with 7. Let's say we end up with 8. There's some pretty badass drivers here in X30 Master.
Well, Scott Roberts certainly heads the list of those that are entered, coming off a solid weekend at the USPKS program. So he's going to be one of the favorites going in. Jonathan Silva, a number of years now under his belt in the master category. He should be quick. You add in the 2 Solo Kart USA drivers of Adam Pettit and Salvatore I can never say Sparacio. They should be quick as well. They were quick last year at Newcastle. And then the Carapoletti brothers with Kim and Scott. We'll see if they'll be able to hang with the rest of the field throughout the weekend. But no slouches in the category. And then again, if you throw in Tucker in, we'll see what Johnson ends up doing, if he's going to stay with KA or go to X30. Not sure. We'll see. We'll see how this unfolds once we get to Trackside.
Yeah, I think it should be a good little battle back and forth. We'll find out whether or not they jam them in with the X30 Master or seniors or just run them straight up. One thing we didn't mention, Solo Kart USA, David. Back, if we go back to the X30 senior class, they were trying to get their driver who did so well, was on the podium at the Winter Series, Louis Westover from the UK, not able to come over here. So the guys from Solo Kart USA actually adding a couple of drivers to the team. National number 3 from last year, Trey Brown, could be running a Solo Kart USA machine, and Jake Heblo as well. So a couple of drivers going to run X30 senior on the Solo Kart USA equipment.
Yeah, again, it's a great package. We saw Jesus Rios Jr. do well with it at Newcastle as well. So it's they have those 2 categories pretty locked in with their chassis. Solid performance, as you said, with down at the Winter Series, and so we'll see if they can translate it at the Summer Festival here this weekend at Newcastle.
So we already went through the Pro Shifter and Pro Shifter 2 category. Let's jump, David, into the G1 and G2 categories. 4 drivers in G1. That split between essentially 2 and 2, half and half. 2 drivers on the IAME, 2 drivers on KZ. In the G2 category, all 3 of them on the IAME 175.
Yeah, in the G1 category, we're going to look to see a good battle between Joe Rook and Scott Skitchy Barnes from Bermuda. 2 drivers who are very familiar with one another, raced with each other a number of times. They come in as the early favorites in the category. Anthony Stifler and Amar Sanada round out the entry list in G1. G2 is going to be a little bit of a battle of some champions. You have Justin Peck, the Winter Series champion. He's going to be in G2 with Rollison Performance Group. You have Nathan Stewart, the 2019 G2 Super Nationals winner with Full Gas Motorsport aboard the Burrell Art chassis. He'll be in the category along with Ken Schilling, the reigning SKUSA number 2 driver. So pretty good battle in G2 that we'll see between those 3 drivers.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with obviously Justin Peck dialing things in at the Winter Series. He was very strong down in Florida. That should be fun to see what he's able to do, but we all know that Nathan Stewart, badass for sure. 40 pre-entries in Mini Swift. None of the returning top 3 from last year. That's going to kind of open things up, but we got the drivers who really have been strong in the micro category, and of course Mini from last year as well. There's a really strong group of drivers here in Mini.
But if you look at those we talked about in their essentially rookie seasons in the Mini Swift category, you talk about Caleb Gaffar, Max Garcia, who was a Winter Series champion this year in the Mini Swift category, Cameron Brinkman, Ben Mayer, Parker DeLong. I believe this is his 3rd season in the Mini Swift category. So he comes in as now probably the veteran of the Mini Swift category, if you could say that. So it's certainly a strong group of 5 drivers there. You have a number of other drivers who have been looking strong in recent weeks. Winners at the USBKS weekend was Mateus Orwella and Cooper Shipman. So they are drivers who are certainly have the speed, and we'll see if they're able to translate that over into the Superkarts USA weekend.
You know, if you look a little bit at the Winter Series as well, we saw some really good performances of Oliver Weldon and Sebastian Weldon as well. Both those drivers running for JC Karting on the Cosmics. I think they're going to be in the fight too. I know we don't really have them down in our notes here right now, but based on what they showed us at their home track, essentially at Homestead, if they pick things up here at Newcastle, they could most definitely be in the fight.
Yeah, and you talk about other rookies like Kai Johnson. He's moved up from the micro division. He's been fast, typically wherever he goes. So he'll be one to watch. There's a number of drivers who certainly have the ability. Spencer Conrad, another driver moving up from the micro Swift division. So a number of drivers who might have the ability to kind of sneak attack on those contenders who we had mentioned already.
You brought up Parker DeLong in his third year, and I think that a lot of people try to rush their kids through the mini Swift category too long. You know my feeling about giving your driver an opportunity to learn how to win. And I think for me, that's key. We saw it with Kai Sorensen as well. He ran 3 years in the mini Swift category, did so well that, when you start winning races, people start seeing it. And I like seeing people get a chance to stay in a category so they learn how to win. That, I think, is one of the very crucial deals. So we'll see if Parker DeLong is able to get that done here this weekend. But wow, a lot of great talent in mini. Then we go to micro, David, the essentially intro into the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour program. Micro Swift drivers, 23 in total, and the defending champ back. And not only is he back, but he started out pretty solid at Newcastle and USPKS.
Yeah, he won on Saturday in the dry, then won on wet on Sunday to be able to. Then, ironically, they were his first victories in the USPKS program after, I think, finishing fourth in the championship last year. So he certainly has the pedigree to be able to defend his championship here at the SuperKarts USA competition.
We didn't actually mention his name. Jack Iliff.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
I was setting you up for it, but no, we didn't mention Jack Iliff yet for Iron Rock Motorsports. He's the guy we're talking about, national number one.
I thought you said his name. I apologize.
I did. It's all right, dude. That's good.
Hey, second podcast in 2 days, and it's just been. I'm still recovering from Brickyard. My emotional status is not. What it was going into the weekend. So
you got your ass kicked by an old man. I get it. I know.
I've already had 3 people offer me $50 to take you out next year. So
what?
I'm recovering quickly.
Well, listen, here's the thing. It's the same as last year, David. You were never really close enough to me anytime during the weekend to take me out anyway. So I'm not really worried about that.
Practice, I will next year.
That's right. I'm going to make sure I draft behind you the entire time in practice then.
If you can keep up.
Ooh, nice. All right, so give me your lineup. What do you think? Obviously, Iliff, you watched what he was able to do at the USPKS weekend. Who else do you think has the chops right now to battle with him?
Well, when you look at returning drivers, you look at James Moss. He's got the experience at this level. You have Ayrton Grimm, the USPKS champion last year. He's sticking with Micro Swift at the SuperKarts USA competition after running Mini Swift at USPKS. So he's come back down. And then Tristan Murphy has a solid experience out on the West Coast. So we'll see what he's able to do coming to Newcastle. A couple drivers to watch, though, who are kind of new, because obviously in the micro category, we're getting some new names. Vivek Canthan from Mike Doty Racing. He was pretty solid at the USPKS weekend. So I expect him to turn around and do the same this weekend as well. He'll be one to certainly watch, and obviously others that will be able to rise up throughout the weekend.
Well, what about some of the drivers from the Nitro Kart crew as well? Carson Weinberg, I expect to be fast. There's a couple drivers from that team that you got to expect they're going to come to the forefront as well.
Yeah, Carson Weinberg. Yeah, he was Iliff's top contender throughout that USPKS weekend, so he's going to be in the hunt as well. And again, we'll see who. Again, that's the thing about that micro category. It's really tough to know who's on their game until we get trackside.
Well, folks, there's a good little kind of look at some of the drivers who you're going to see over these next couple of weekends. We won't be doing an OutLap podcast next week, as I had said before, for the second weekend of the SuperKarts USA Summer Nats. But our debrief day will kind of be like a race report / preview at the same time. We'll talk about what happened, and we'll kind of have a look forward who we think will come to the forefront as well in the second triple header. Lots of racing coming, man. This is crazy.
Lots of racing, unprecedented weekends coming up here. Just trying to charge up, be ready for I don't know if your voice is going to be ready for 2 straight days of racing.
I was just going to say that's a lot of racing for me. I'm going to have to get something. I don't know. There's no Starbucks around here.
You can't go Randy Kugler and go on the limiter right away.
He was on the limiter at Indy. He and Caleb Smock were rocking it. Again, folks, as always, with the Superkarts USA program and any of the races that we cover on the EKN Trackside Live program, make sure to follow us all weekend long. The live audio at ekartingnews.com/live. We'll be streaming all the way from qualifying to the pre-finals to the finals. Follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll have a lot of coverage on all three of the platforms. Our Instagram story will be very intensive as well. If you want to look us up real quick, the hashtags we'll be using hashtag EKN at SKUSA, hashtag SKUSA 2020, hashtag SKUSA Pro Tour, and as David has quoted himself, hashtag Summerfest 2020.
It just sounds better. It sounds like a concert series, right?
It does a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah. So we'll have all that stuff coming. And again, David will be doing race reports, and always follow the social media, because wherever you may be, you want to kind of see the results. David's posting those results to Facebook and Twitter. Lots of images as well. David, you're going to fire the camera up, probably take a couple of 1,000 photos, maybe more this particular week.
I average about 3,000 a weekend, so this could be 5,000 a weekend. So we're looking at maybe 10,000 images over the 2 weekends.
That's crazy. Are you gonna get some sleep tonight or what? How long's the drive down here? What, 4 hours? Did you say 4 hours?
4.5? Yeah, around there. I'm not quite sure when I'm going to leave, but try and get down there lunch. I got to look at the schedule to see when I really need to be there, because you're already there, so there's no rush really. You can handle things on a practice day, but we do want to kind of do a little happy hour maybe at the end. Make sure the system's working right and be ready to go. But it's 4.5 hour drive, so get the rental car here tonight and be ready to go in the morning. Get down there and then just enjoy what is going to be a unique and exciting double weekend of 6 rounds of racing.
And, we're going to do the debrief next week to kind of cap up the entire weekend, but we'll very likely do our Facebook Live debriefs as well. I know that people really loved that last year, right? Able to connect with us, ask us any questions of what happened during the day. So look forward to seeing us do our Facebook Live right off the camera over there too as well. Yeah,
that's the great thing with the Newcastle headquarters. It's just down the road from the racetrack, so we don't have the long drive back to the hotels in Greenfield. We'll be able to eat if we have to while we're doing a debrief. But looking at the schedule, we're done pretty solid. Probably about 6 o'clock at the latest with after podiums and everything like that. So it'll be great to do to get back on the video. Everybody can see our smiling faces. We'll probably social distance each other because you don't want to be around. I don't want to be around you as much as I have to.
Dude, we got the EKN bubble going here. We're all together in the same house. We're all good.
Thankfully, we have separate bedrooms, so I don't have to breathe in your breath while you're sleeping. But
easy now, you'll be snoring. Here's what I do want to do. Then hopefully we'll be able to put this together when we do the debrief next week. You'll probably be at home. I'll still be here, so we'll go. I want to go Facebook Live, and then maybe we'll bring in a couple of the drivers who did well. So we'll do the full video. I want to try that because some of the drivers will obviously still be here. They can either be on their laptops or be on their phones, and we'll do a little Facebook Live debrief. I think next week. I like that too.
We'll have to see. We're going to talk to. Obviously, we'll be talking to everybody, see what they're doing. I'm assuming that Monday and Tuesday are going to be a lot of golf for a lot of people.
That's true. That's right.
So we'll see what happens.
All right, guys, we're done here from the EKN Newcastle headquarters. David, of course, still in Grand Rapids. He'll head on the road tomorrow to get down here for what it's going to be a pretty wild run down at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Big thank you to Greg Bell and Leading Edge Motorsports for being the presenting sponsor of this EKN OutLap, where we got a chance to preview the upcoming Superkarts USA Summer Nationals. We're done here, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to go racing. It's time to get this Pro Tour in the books for 2020. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.